right, Craig, which team you want to do?
I'm going with Detroit.
All right. Detroit it is.
Oh man. You know, Dan Campbell, man. I'm really, I'm really confused. Like the whole biting the kneecaps. You know that it just took me out. I really wasn't. So from that point on, he lost me, and I was just like, "There's no." So I don't have high expectations. The whole roster is just a mess. Um, I said it before on this show. This is my brother's team, so I kind of feel bad for him. Um, he's just not gonna he's just not gonna be happy this year. Um, man, I just don't really have high expectations for this for Dan Campbell as a head coach. Like he's kind of in over his head this year. Um, he should have just stayed with the Saints if he could have. I don't, or should have went somewhere else and been another assistant coach. But you know, hey, he gets this opportunity to shine here. They haven't really been good for years and years. So I don't know what he's gonna do to this team except for probably try to build on um something because they're just not good enough. Jared Goff. Jared Goff has been terrible the last 2 years, in my opinion. 20 touchdowns, 13 picks last year, 23 and 13 the year before, or 22 and 13, I should say. So 42 touchdowns, 29 picks in the last two seasons since the Super Bowl run that he had. His QBR or his quarterback rating has been 85 and then like a 90 last year. So he just hasn't been good, man. Like he had weapons in LA and like he just still couldn't get the job done. There's no reason why you should have 20 touchdowns with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, the three running backs that they had, Tyler Higbee. I don't really I don't really think he's going to be better than he had those weapons last year. He has no weapons this year, so I can only imagine how terrible he's going to be. Um, and it's unfortunate because he was drafted high, so the expectations were high, and now he's in Detroit where it seems like he's just an afterthought. Um, I do like the addition of Penei Sewell, although I thought they should have went wide receiver because they don't have like who's the wide receiver. But I mean, at the same time, I guess they beefed up the offensive line. They got arguably the best offensive lineman in this draft. So you know he's going to watch the blind side of Jared Goff. So you know I can't be mad at the pick. It does make the offensive line look a lot better than what it was previously. So you know, I think their worries about Jared Goff getting hurt or probably less than probably they were before the draft. But at the same time, who's he throwing the ball to? Like he has nobody to throw the ball to. Like he has no number one. You said that. I mean, this is probably one of the worst, if not the worst, wide receiver group. Terrell Williams, Rashard Perryman, Geronimo Allison, like these guys are just come on. I mean, other than TJ Hawkinson, like there's nobody on this team that I think is going to get more than say 40 or 50 catches. I remember when Washington had their wide receivers a couple years ago, and like the best wide receiver had like 50 or 60 catches. Like this is what I see out of this unit. I just don't see it. And he got a quarterback that I think probably lost his confidence. He went from a great situation, a playoff team, chance to win the Super Bowl to bottom of the barrel. Ah, man, that's gonna be tough on his psyche. And then you have DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams as the running backs. I think DeAndre Swift should be the starter. To me, Jamal Williams he has that starter potential, but he didn't break through with the Packers, so I don't see him breaking through here. Not with the younger running back there. So his best bet is to just hand the ball off and just hand the ball off majority of the time because these wide receivers, man, unless you're throwing it to TJ, because these wide receivers, man, they're just, oh man, he's gonna have a field day back there throwing to nobody, Anyway, you know the center that they have, Frank Ragnow, I think he's probably one of the better centers in the league. That's pretty much the one of the few bright spots, I guess, on this line. Um, Pretty much one of the few bright spots on this offense, I should say, besides Penei Sewell. Like it's just going to be a tough sled for this team. The defense is gonna be bottom of the list again. Oh man, I don't know what they were thinking this year in this draft. Um, Trey Flowers is a solid linebacker. Jamie Collins is decent. Will Harris is a safety. Tracy Walker. Like they have decent names, but I think overall, like they're just outclassed by a lot of other defenses. And I just don't see it really making a lot of leading to a lot of wins, basically. So um I'm sorry, man, but this team looks like competing for the #1 overall pick coming in the next season. Um I'm looking at maybe 3 wins. Oh, I forgot to mention Jamie Collins. He's really good as well. 3 wins, 3-14. Yeah. That might be pushing it right there. That might be pushing it only because I think Houston's probably gonna be worse, but I'm going 3-14. 0-6 in the division. Like they're gonna have to get their wins elsewhere.
All right, Corey.
Detroit Lions. Obviously, first year head coach, TBD. Campbell has certainly been entertaining to start his tenure. I guess that's the way to put it. We will see how many wins that ends up equating to. I think a bigger thing will be we'll see how well that ends up playing throughout the season. Because I'm right there with Craig. I don't think, James, you'll be too far behind. I'm not expecting much from this Lions team this year. So, will the off-the-wall kind of antics, will that be enough to keep the locker room throughout the year? So if Campbell can get the team, get the locker room to buy into their plan, what they want to do, that's a massive victory for the Lions this season. More important than whatever their win total is going to be. Offensively, I think about the only thing that would be interesting to watch the Lions for is to see Jared Goff without McVay. As it's Tyra Williams, Quintez Cephas, and Rashad Perriman is just a little bit of a downgrade from what he was throwing to with the Rams. Swift and Jamal Williams, I think, are a really good backfield tandem. Detroit would be wise to use them early and often. Throughout that offense, I would have them both on the field a lot just because they're probably going to be more productive. Tyra Williams has had some flashes in his career. He's had a couple of good seasons, but I don't think he's a #1 guy. So, use your running backs, use Hawkinson, get what you can out of that offense. Although I do think Detroit, and probably along with New England, will probably be pretty active in the wide receiver market come cut down day. So there's a decent chance that those 3 guys won't be their top 3 receivers going into week 1. But I think this offense could end up in historic levels of bad. The offensive line, I actually think, should be pretty good. They've got a solid foundation with Decker, Sewell, Ragnow, Vaitai. But just there's no weapons around Jared Goff. As Craig said, Goff has not been good the last 2 years, and that was with one of the brightest offensive minds in the NFL coaching him. So, sorry for Lions fans. That's going to make for a long year. Defense wasn't great last year. Of course, they had Matt Patricia, who was very much not good at his job. So, getting rid of Patricia is actually at least a step in the right direction on its own. Craig pointed out they got a few guys spread out across that defense. There's some names that people recognize, but on the whole, I think I don't know that amounts to much. I think much like the Jets, their offense is going to be bad and also put that defense into bad positions, put them on the field a lot. So even if the defense is playing well, they're just going to get burned out from spending so much time on the field. Overall, it's just the Lions. They're going to be bad. Everyone knows they're going to be bad. I think the Lions are. I mean, they essentially brought in Goff with taking on a first round pick from the Rams. They're all in and full on rebuild. They're the front runner for the first round pick next year, for the top pick next year. I have them 2-15.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think we're all on Detroit. Dan Campbell, first year head coach of the Lions. Once again, I'm always going to bring this up until the Lions have a winning record. But since they've moved on from Jim Caldwell, from Matt Patricia, they suck. Matt Patricia sucked. Now let's see if Dan Campbell's a good hire. I mean, nobody's expecting anything from the Lions this year, so let's see. It's going to be a long season. Jared Goff is the quarterback, and he comes from the LA Rams. I think he's an average quarterback, but let's see how he fares without Sean McVay, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp. Now let's see how good of a quarterback he is. I don't think he's going to be that good. The running backs, their running backs are pretty good. I think DeAndre Swift showed promise last year, and then Jamal Williams comes up from the Packers, and Jamal Williams is a good pass catching third down back, man. The offensive line, I'm agree with you, Corey. I think Decker, Penei Sewell, Ragnar, their offensive line is good. And I like that. TJ Hawkinson, I mean, at this point, he's a stud. He's looking to now make the next leap to be considered with the George Kittles, the Wallers, the Kels, This receiver core is different from the Rams, man. Tyrell Williams tried to be a number one in Las Vegas. He couldn't stay healthy. Bashard Perryman, is he consistent? In the words of my friend Daryl, these are the questions one must ask, right? Like, that's a lot to ask for the receiving core. There's not a number one receiver, and that's going to be very difficult for Jared Goff. Defensive line, they got veterans. Michael Brockers is coming from the Rams in the trade. Trey Flowers on the linebacking core. Let's see if he gets the same amount of sacks that he got in New England. Also, Jeff Okudah, the cornerback. And usually for corners and receivers, I give them time. To me, I think those two are the hardest positions to adjust to. One of them. It's just an adjustment. And the safeties are okay, but this defense is going to be on the field a lot, and it's probably going to get exposed. So my overall prediction is the Lions have Dan Campbell, whose press conferences are nice. They're fiery, but can he bring that into the locker room? Because it's going to be a long, long season for the Lions. Jared Goff is a decent quarterback, but he has no weapons. You could fairly say that Sean McVay, Robert Woods, and Cooper Kupp have made him a lot better quarterback. I mean, we're going to see. I don't think the defense was good last year, and it won't be this year. It's a lot of work for them to do, for Coach Campbell and the Lions. I got them going 3-14.